Good afternoon. Welcome to our Probate Mastery weekly phone call. Our Probate Mastery, we do this every Tuesday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Heads up, next week, when I say that, I'll be on Eastern time because I'll be in Orlando, Florida for a company convention. But today I'm running this call here from Los Angeles, California, from beautiful, sunny Los Angeles, California. We do this every week, and I think that, let me just introduce myself. I'm Bill Gross, and I'm a graduate of Chad's Probate Mastery coaching program, both this version and the prior version at his old company. I've been a real estate agent since 1986, but I've been a probate-focused agent. I relaunched my business, getting back into production about 3 years and 3 months ago from scratch. Came out of management back into production. And I took Chad's coaching and followed the process, put together a business plan, and developed a great business in probate real estate over the last 3 years. And as a result, I built my own Zoom call. I host probateweekly.com. And Chad's asked me to help by hosting this program. And my vision, I think, was something we're working on, trying to find the right spot for it and where it actually fits. So you'll see some changes. My vision is, as a practitioner, I'm not making a living selling coaching or data. I'm a real estate broker all day long. I just was responding to an attorney before, and I'll have other phone calls afterwards. I'm also an investor, but my primary focus is I do this for a living all day. I'm in the probate space every day. I talk to probate attorneys, families, other agents, investors, and use my knowledge and experience to help create value for my customers to build a business. And so I'm here helping you to do the same thing. I'm not paid to do this. I really just enjoy helping people. It does help promote my business. It helps promote my probate call. But I really do enjoy helping agents build their business. And I'm building a nationwide team of realtors under my team, probate focus, one for each county, to be experts in their county. But in the meantime, I'm here to help anybody along the way. And my vision, having taken the program, is it's great. It's on demand. You can come back and review the material. But expertise is not a destination. It's a process. And so coming on this week, I came in the call either live or because I need to brush up. I need to learn. I need to find new vendors. I need to find new tricks to constantly improve my business as the competition gets better. So I've been watching this call or being on it continuously. And then Chad asked me a couple of times after I guest hosted to host it on a more regular basis. So that's what I'm here for, is to help answer your questions. And I really believe that if you're looking to build a business, it's a constant process of iteration. It's a constant failure and then fixing, and then a new failure at a higher level, and then a failure and fixing that, going to a higher level. That's what business is in my experience. And so I'm here to help you guys today. This is the place where I want to be for you, a good laboratory or a good team room where we get together and share ideas and solutions together to help our respective businesses. I also want to throw out that we'd like to, on this call, interview successful alumni. I'm one, been interviewed here. But I want to offer to you that if you are a full-time agent or investor who's used the Probate Mastery to build your business and have success with it, I'd encourage you to share it. I think the more you help other people, the more help you get. So if you're interested, either reach out to Kat or me in the chat box here or in the Probate Mastery. My email address I'll put in the chat box is bill@thelaprobateexpert.com. You can find me there, or you can also find me at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BillGrossEXP. You can go into my weekly call, which is probateweekly.com. And I do every Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific time, where I talk about probate. Similar to this, my call there, I'm bringing in more vendors every week, more other person focused, attorneys from around the country, and more of a national perspective than maybe a local realtor. So that said, feel free. This is meant to be participative. So you can use the Zoom reactions button and raise your hand, or put a question in the chat box. If it's a question, if you could start with a Q, that way I'll know you're not just chatting with each other, but there's a question involved. I'm glad to help. And we'll start off with Brian. It looks like Brian Wilson. So my first mail is going out this week from ATL, all the leads. I feel good about the first call, but what should I be saying on the second, third, fourth, et cetera call? Great question. Brian, first off, Brian, where do you do business?
Washington, D.C. area, greater Washington, D.C.
Is that the DMV area?
DMV, yes.
There you go. So I work with a team member out that way. So DMV is what? District, Maryland, Virginia.
Correct.
So to those who aren't from the area. But if you're from DMV, you have to act like everybody knows or should know where DMV is.
I'm not getting my license every day.
So, okay. So you feel good about your first call. What does that mean? What are you going to say in the first call? Let's role play.
He started out by saying, hey, I don't know if I have the right number, but I'm looking for Bill Gross. Does this happen to be his number?
Yes.
Well, hey, Bill, what? I was calling because we have a concierge program that helps families going through probate that takes care of the things that either they don't know how to do or don't want to do. I really don't know if what we do is right for you. Do you think I could take a quick second and share the reason for my call?
So I'm curious, who's this script from?
Oh gosh.
Hill.
Is that from Bruce
Bruce
Hill?
Hill, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Bruce Hill.
So true confession, I have not called petitioners personally since COVID started, as far as calling a list of them, right? My business is focused on some other lead generation techniques than just that, more with attorneys. My goal is to build referrals. And what I do is I work my sphere to generate some probate and trust business, as well as attorneys is my focus. So, true confession, but a couple things I would say, the script is an outline of a conversation, just from a fundamentalist point of view. A script is always the outline of a conversation. I'm not really wedded to any wording, as long as it's a conversation and it's natural and where you want to go. And so I think oftentimes we're attracted, when I get asked a question about scripting, what I know is the person asked me hasn't called anybody yet. So true or false, Brian, you've not yet called these people.
I have not called these people because the first mailers went out and I was told to wait until day 5 to call.
Wow. Okay. I don't know where all the leads mail drop is. So, and what type. So that, I don't know all that. So that said, okay, wait till day 5. So I think you'll find your path on that once you make those phone calls. If you call, and how many mailers you send out?
This first one was only 37 in the file.
Okay. So
that had
what
problems.
percentage of those, so this is a great opportunity, and I'm gonna give you some free coaching here. This is normally I would charge for this, we'll do this for free. So how many do you think when you dial them, whenever you call, let's imagine you're gonna call now or tomorrow at 9 a.m. or tomorrow at 4 p.m. or whenever it is, 37, how many do you think will answer the phone?
1 to 3%.
1 to 3% will answer the phone. So 1% of 37 isn't even one.
Isn't even one.
So
I may get one person that answers out of the 37.
Okay. My experience is cold calling a list like that of numbers that have been done professionally, like they have, you're probably gonna get about 1 in 5 will answer the phone.
Okay.
Similar to expired listings or for sale by owners we buy from the service. So you should expect to talk to 1 in 5 would be about 7 conversations, which is a little less than an hour worth of time for starters. Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing you're asking me is with a second, third, and fourth call, of course, you're going to recall the 80% that you don't reach the first time. So that's the same first call as the first call, but it's the second or third time dialing through those numbers.
Well, more along the line. So yes, I get that point. But
I just want to clarify for everybody listening that that's the process. You're going to call those numbers and then you're going to recall the ones that didn't answer a second time and a third time and a fourth time, whatever that is. Yes. Number 2. So your question on the scripting is going to be dependent on what the conversation is like. So what I would say is the goal of a conversation is what? What's your goal when you talk to them on the phone?
What's my goal?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ultimately, it's to develop a relationship to get the business.
So do you believe that on a first phone call you can develop that kind of relationship?
I mean, no. Ultimately, that's
Okay.
the reason why I'm calling.
What's the goal of the phone call? The moment you're on the phone call, what is your goal of that?
To see to establish communication with them.
Let me back up a little bit. Let me help you a little bit because it's a vague question. Where I live in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles is as liberal, as committed to the, I mean, I don't want to make this a political discussion, but there's pro-maskers and there's anti-maskers, right? We agree there's a spectrum of different opinion. Regardless of what's right or wrong, I'm not here to discuss that. In LA, we have the highest percentage of maskers in the country. That doesn't mean everybody's a masker, but those who wear masks are offended if you want to meet with a person. True or false in your area? There's some of those people too, right?
Well,
so you be careful.
We're very, very similar to LA.
Okay. So you be careful. And so everything I say is predicated. Understand that because we're having COVID, you have to kind of deal with that little minefield. Do you want to meet with them in person, or is your goal to maybe do a video call with them in person, depending on where you are in your locale and what's appropriate for you personally, business-wise, and health-wise. Now, Stephen Hughes says nobody cares anymore. Trust me, in LA, there are people who really care. There are people, if you suggest to meet in person, will think you're stupid. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm a businessman, and my job is to know my market. And I'm telling you, there are people in DMV as well who would assume if your goal is to meet in person, you're stupid. So you have to figure out that. You have to negotiate that part of your job. I can't speak in your local market. I can speak in LA. I would say that if you're calling in Torrance, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're calling in Diamond Bar or Walnut, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're calling in Tarzana, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you're calling in LA, West LA, or Beverly Hill, or particularly West LA, I would worry about it. Kind of West Hollywood, I would worry about it. So I just make sure we're all current on our COVID marketing protocols. That said, the goal normally pre-COVID, the goal of a phone call is to set an appointment if they are a lead. You want to pre-qualify them. Are they a lead? Are they interested? And if they are, to meet with them. So I would say to you, Brian, the goal of the call is to make an appointment for whatever the next step is, whether that means in person or the next appointment might be a Zoom call where you can have a little more intimate relationship, right? And so we want to think about our contacts of intimacy. And the most intimate would be in person. Next least would be maybe a video call. Next least maybe is a phone call. Next least might be an email. Next least might be text. Next least might be social media. Our goal is always to move down that scale of intimacy in our sales. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So on these phone calls, what's your goal in your market area? That's appropriate for you where you live and work.
I mean, here it will be to set the appointment. On my regular listing side, business, it's always to be able to walk through the property.
And meet with the client at the house.
And meet with the client of the house, although although just naturally in the course of my business, I have dealt with so many estates that a lot of times they don't live here.
Right. So well, that's different. I'm just saying, assuming they're at the house,
yes,
or they want to meet you at the house, you're okay meeting them at the house.
Absolutely.
And that's appropriate for your market. Great. So your goal of the appointment then is to meet them. Now, like you, most of my clients are out of state or out of the area. And so that meeting looks like a Zoom call. This is scheduled like an appointment. I try to make it feel more formal with a pre-appointment package and information. But the goal of the phone call is the appointment. That makes sense?
Okay. Makes sense.
Sometimes before the appointment, I want to drive the property, or I'll have some of my team drive the property. Maybe take photos, maybe do some research.
Got it. That's
an appointment, a professional. So again, just going back to your question, the goal of a call is to get an appointment, right?
Got it. Okay.
So now your question is, what happens if I call them the first time and I have this whole concierge pitch I give them? What's the second call look like? And the answer is, well, it depends what happens in the first call. Because if a goal is to, Brian, you married?
Yes.
Good for you. So, because, most guys are knuckleheads and we don't know how to have relationships. And then we find some woman dumb enough to marry us and we cling to her like grim death if we want to stay married. But that's a joke. But anyhow, my point is that in a relationship, it's about listening to them and finding out what they want, right? So that second or third phone call is based on the first phone call, right? So I don't know there's a script for second or third phone call. The question is, where's your first phone call going?
Got it.
But we always want to have a reason to call them back about something else. If we like to leave one of the rules of dating. I'm married 36 years. I haven't dated since I got married, but I know the rules. I teach marriage-minded men classes on dating. One of the rules is don't ever leave a date without saying the next date. One of the rules of relationship building and sales is never leave an appointment without the next appointment or the next step, right? So the question then is on the first call, your goal is to set the appointment. Obviously that resolves that. If you don't get an appointment, your goal is to find some reason to call back. Hey, I know you mentioned that you weren't ready to do anything yet. And I sent out a market update. Did you get it? You like to review and get an idea of what the properties are. You're looking for some excuse to send them something as a reason to talk to them, to re-engage for the purpose of what? What's the purpose of the second or third or for the phone call? It's always to set the next appointment.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that's also a little different is in our business, let me ask you, what percentage of your goal of your business is petitioner related, family related, versus attorney related? Are you looking to build attorney referrals?
I would love to build attorney referrals. I mean, as you can imagine, in Washington, D.C., they're under every rock.
Yeah. We have the same thing here in Los Angeles. So, and the thing that's odd about the business is, I don't know what's like, I would urge you to find out the answer to this question in your area. In my market, 95% of probate cases, the attorney has done one or less probates in the last 12 months. Meaning, 95% chance they're not going to do another one for a year, right? So I want to know the difference. I want to know when I'm talking to a probate specialist. I want to know when I'm not. Mm-hmm. And my business has been an attorney, so I'll either search online or I'll search the database I have of probate cases to see how many they've done. But one of the purposes of the phone call is to get in with the attorney, right? So we focus a lot on getting the listing, But if the attorney is on your side, is that listing more or less likely? A lot more likely, right?
Yep.
And the attorney is not on your side, they have another agent they want to work with. Now, I find every attorney says that two things. They all say that the customer picks the real estate agent. And the customers always say the realtors encourage them to use somebody else. They're not lying. They just don't want to tell you the truth because it's uncomfortable. So on that phone call, you also want to find a reason to get with the attorney and then circle back to the customer. Hey, by the way, I just met with your attorney. So personally, pre-COVID, I would try to meet with every attorney in person, pop by the office, meet them at the courthouse, buy them a cup of coffee. Again, COVID may be different for you now or not. I don't know. I don't know your geography, but whatever's appropriate, whether maybe it's a phone call, one a nice excuse to call back the client. Say, hey, no, you guys weren't sure what you're looking to do. Turns out I know your attorney. Or, turns out I spoke to your attorney and he mentioned blah, 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 and I'm here to help. That gives a reason for a call back. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So does that help answer your question as far as what to do on the second, third, and fourth?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Just try to make it about building the same. If you're successful listing property, just follow the same process, just change the people a little bit. Okay.
Okay. Are you coming to Orlando next week?
I am. Are you with the XP?
Yep. I'll see you there.
I'll be there with bells on.
Okay.
I'm going to host this call live somewhere. I haven't figured out where yet, but we'll figure out how to do that. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for your question.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Okay. And Stephen Hughes, where do you sell houses?
I'm in Utah. I mean, I guess the greater Salt Lake City area.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's just different out here. I get it's different on the West Coast than here. I get it.
You can't imagine how different it is. You just don't get it. Nothing personal.
Well, some of them come out here and then they still have those plates and they cover them up with construction paper because people will cuss them out in person. Even though
yeah. Okay. So but I appreciate the feedback. And again, in areas where COVID's a history thing, then by all means, the goal is to meet with the people in person, whether it be the attorney or and I agree 100%. You have to be aware of your clients. And I'm in Los Angeles. I'm a member of the LA County Bar. They have an installation dinner. So normally I would call a couple attorneys and invite them to come as my guests. It's a dinner, it's like fundraiser, costs like $250 a plate. So I'm gonna spend $500, but I get a nice night with an attorney and get them, and then you kind of work the party by with so-and-so. But in order to go to the party, you have to have a current vaccinated card. Like you have to be vaccinated in the last 90 days or something just to get in the party. That's Los Angeles attorneys. So we're at the cutting edge. They're at the leading edge of that movement. So free state of Florida. Yeah, well, I'm going there next week. I was married in Florida. I used to live in Florida, and I'm looking forward to going back. Deborah Wilson, I see your hand up. Let's see here. Let's move her.
Okay.
Let's put you in a spot. How can we help you?
My question is, I would like to farm attorneys in my area. I'm from Canton, Ohio. And I've Googled, attorneys to see which ones say they do probate. And I haven't called it. I did send a packet of information to one attorney, but I didn't get any phone calls, of course, because I have to follow up. Because that was, why I sent it, and I need to go there. But okay, let me just get more. I joined the auxiliary of the Starr County Bar Association, just so that I've heard you say that.
Great.
And I would like to see what the brochure looks like, where we go to their office and say, you can have this side and this is my side, what I do. I would like to actually see what that looks like. I'm a visual person.
Sure. Well, I can't say there's a particular official brochure that you should use, but I'm glad to share with you the one that I use. And
I would love that. Thank you.
Sure. I'll put it in the chat box, and I got it through alltheleads.com. I bought however many the minimum is, I think about 1,000 or so. I keep them. I'm a man. So business means I have a sport, a suit coat, and I keep them in my pocket, which I like. I don't really hand them out unless somebody asks me a question. I can pull it out and then just show what I do. And I have had a couple of people ask for and give them little plastic holders and put them in their office. Don't know how effective that is, but I do like it a lot. I think it's been a great tool for when I meet with people.
That won't open or save. It says file not found. Okay, and I have one last thing. Okay, to bring credibility to myself, I'm going to get the website with all the leads. And I would like to interview different attorneys to have them come on and talk about what it is that they do, and other people that are in the probate, like contractors or whatever. So I think that would be helpful as a way to get into the door to say like why I'm there and this is what I can do for you. I brochure that they could get on and they could come on to my Zoom show or whatever you want to.
That's exactly what I do. I interview probably a couple a week and from all across the country, and some appreciate, some don't, and just how life works. But so yeah, I definitely think the website I got from all the leads as well. I don't think it's particularly fancy. I've seen other ones that are really good, but I don't think that really is a deal breaker. I think people just have to see you have the content and you're focused on it. I think it's sufficient that when they search you, they find their way and it ends up looking like you know what you're doing. So it sounds like you're on the right track. Now, I just always caution people, are you already a full-time real estate agent?
Yes, I am.
And are you selling other houses? Yeah,
Just
it's really
regular
important.
check.
It sounds like you really are on your game. So just as a warning to those who are listening along, realtors, we're very susceptible to you. We'll spend a bunch of money and that will help me make some sales. And I would say it's the opposite. Try to make some sales without spending money and then reinvest some of it in some of these accoutrements or some of these tools. Because if you can't sell without the website and the brochure, you're not going to be able to sell with it. Sell more effectively with it, but you have to learn the system, the sales skills to get there. And if you're not driving traffic to it, none of that works on its own. So just a word to, in general, I'm always hesitant for people to spend money on things until they have some success. But if you are, then I would say feel free to reinvent. And some brochures and a website, it's pretty inexpensive stuff overall. Joining the bar association as a, you say auxiliary, but in ours it's called
$5. So I figure I can.
Yeah, some are really cheap. So I've joined a couple, and you get information, new judges, new locations, new rules. I have an attorney who's asking me about the rules for asking for continuance, but I have that information because I'm in the bar and I joined the section that has the probate rules and such as well. So great tool. And then if you have networking events to go to, then I would, again, as long as it's appropriate for you health-wise in your area, I would encourage you to go to those events. Okay.
All right. Well, very good.
Thanks,
you.
Everett. Come back and circle back. Let us know how it all works out. I mean, the point of this call is for all of us as practitioners. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Great. And so let's see. State of Florida, fine. Hi to everybody from Shelby in Michigan. Oh, Metro Detroit. Yeah. Look, the goal of this meeting is to also get some referrals. So if you have people who have probates in Los Angeles, California, anywhere in California, I'd love to help. Likewise, it's nice to meet people in other states. I also have a group called Probate Experts in Facebook, and I get almost every other day somebody asking for an attorney or a realtor in a different area. So glad to do that. Christopher, anybody have any leads with underwater reverse mortgages and heirs that need assistance? I know Christopher, great guy, and he really specializes in doing short sales on some of these probates because it seems like a double whammy. Short sale, not a lot of equity, not a lot of motivation, and then you've got to figure out how to transfer the title maybe through a probate. And so Christopher does that. So if you know anybody who has a reverse mortgage that might be underwater and or they need heir assistance, that's something he can help you with. And he's in the chat box. Okay, good. They've got it. Good. Can I clarify joining the bar and or groups within? So just like realtors have affiliates that join, like mortgage companies, title escrow, the bar has the attorneys group, which is called the bar in most areas, the bar association. It's not going to a bar to drink, though you'll probably find attorneys there. But the bar association usually also has affiliate memberships available. And it's designed for people like us to learn how to work with attorneys, how to refer to attorneys better. So most bar associations, you can't join the bar unless you normally have to pass a licensing test and such. But they usually have an affiliate membership that you can join. And I find it to be very inexpensive. Beverly Hills is the most expensive, I think, at $250. Some of the ones are $25, but you get invited to like their installation dinners, you get invited to their networking events, education online. I've learned a lot online I belong to two bars. I belong to the LA County and I belong to Beverly Hills. And they both have probate training classes a couple times a year. That alone is worth my price of admission. So I went to one bar mixer. I don't want to look like any other realtor. My strategy is to be different than any other realtor in my market. Normally at the bar association, there's 4 or 5 other realtors where I go that are sponsoring or they're there and they run around and act like realtors and hit up on everybody. And I don't want to look like that. So I'm only going to go if I can bring a friend, attorney, and then it's really almost like a business date. I'm married, so I'm not doing that, but I'm dating them as far as business at that event. So if there's a mixture I'm going to go to, I'll say, hey, Joe, there's a mixture of the night. It looks interesting. Like to go. I'll bring as my guest, and I'll go with them for that reason. but I would not just personally just show up. I do think it's a good place to go and meet people. And since COVID, and I'd met a lot of attorneys before COVID. So since COVID, maybe I would go to more because it's been hard to meet people at court because the courts aren't as busy as they were before. I used to go to court every day. It was one of the things I did. So Blenda, I'm sorry. So Blenda, I hope I answered your question. If not, put one in the chat box or raise your hand and we'd be glad to help you with that. How do you find out about joining the Bar Association? What's it cost? Somebody named owner asks. So I would just, Google search your county's name or city's name in the Bar Association. So Beverly Hills Bar Association, Los Angeles Bar Association, and they all have websites and information on it and such. Robert was asking about the brochure I got from alltheleads.com was my brochure source. Okay, good. So look, we're about 2/3 into the call. I'm glad to answer any questions. Hopefully, is this helpful at all? If it's helpful, say yes. If it's not, say no. We can schedule guests. We can schedule attorneys or vendors or such. My thinking was I do already a call with that group, and this was more about answering questions and getting in the weeds with experience. My thinking is if you've paid to be coached and you've paid to buy the data, you need somebody to help you walk through those steps as you counter those changes. Is it helpful? Good. If not, let me know, and I'm glad to change it. We've been, internally, Chad and I and his staff, Cad, and others have been kind of debating how do we make this as effective as possible. I think that as you start your business, you need to have some sort of coaching. They offer a coaching program, and I think if you're more personal and more in depth and want to spend the money to do that, that's appropriate. But as you're starting out, you probably don't have the money to do it. So my goal was to offer kind of some free coaching by answering questions to actual practitioners on this call on a weekly basis and to supplement the Probate Mastery training. Okay, any other questions? Feel free to hit the reactions button and raise your hand, or thank you, Cindy, or put your hand up. Deborah Wilson taking advantage of it. I'd love to help. How can we help you today?
I have another question.
Great.
I don't have any leads. I'm not buying any leads yet because I don't feel that I'm ready to buy leads. And if I'm targeting attorneys, why would I want to talk? I mean, I'm not saying it like that, but I don't want to cold call the people and just like Brian was saying. I would rather have another audience.
Well, okay, so I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'll just I'll tell you some reasons why you might. You might want it because by buying the data, now you know which attorneys are actually doing probate cases.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, you might get the data and contact petitioners as a way to get to the attorney, right? So you might just pick those cases of attorneys that you want to work with, or you might work any client to get to an attorney.
All right.
I also buy the data because I get people call me about a case, and now I have some of the data. I have a case number. I can look it up and I can do some research. So to be honest, I buy the data from two different sources, not even one. More for the data than I do to cold call the people. That said, Deborah, how long have you been in real estate? Are you open to some personal coaching? Can I coach you a little bit individually here?
Love it. I've been in since 2003, but just doing probate. Just started that this year.
Perfect. And so do you mind sharing how many transactions you closed last year, let's say, or last 12 months?
I would say about 6.
Good for you. And about how many people do you have in your database, past clients of influence?
I haven't always kept a CRM. So I'm not I'm remiss on that.
So look, I'm not selling coaching, I'm not selling data, so I can be honest. And I'm not saying Chad's not honest, I think he is too. But I'll say that the success of anything is consistent hard work. And every realtor I work with looks for an alternative to actually building a database and contacting it regularly. And I'm going to tell you, your business is building a database and contacting it regularly. The fastest way to your probate success, Deborah, in your case, is if you could gather everybody that you know, like, and trust, and knows, likes, and trusts you. That means all your people in your phone, in your email programs, in your zip forms, or your dot loop, or whatever you use to do contract. If everybody you had in Facebook or LinkedIn was all in a database, name, address, phone number, and you connected with them on social media, then you can start contacting them about probate information, and they'll start coming to you with questions. And that's the best business. And not only that, you could call your past clients, not to ask them for business, but you can make a phone call that sounds like this. Hey, Deborah, Bill Gross, I'm a real estate agent. You may remember I showed you a house 4 years ago. How you doing? You ever buy anything? And you'll say, yeah, we bought another agent. Okay, great. No, we never bought. Oh, okay, great. I have a question for you. I know when we showed you the property and we're talking about buying at that time, if you were to buy today, Would you be using a family trust? Do you have an estate plan in place already? The reason I'm asking that is I'm looking for clients of mine who might have an attorney that they did an estate plan with that they're happy with. I'm not prying, I'm looking to maybe help my other attorneys. So that's a way that if they answer, there's only 3 answers. One answer is, yes, we have one, and we love our attorney. We'd love to give his name and number or her name and number so you can call them and do business with them. No, we don't have one, which you want to mark that down so that you can then, wow, interesting. So if you're looking to buy a house, do you know how important it is? Let me send you this video that talks about how important planning ahead is. So when you buy a house, you protect your family's asset and avoid probate. So you have to find the resource to send to your client. If you don't have any, go to trustandwill.com. They're a very inexpensive online, kind of do it yourself, kind of like the TurboTax of estate planning. Better would be you find a local attorney. You might have them in your database. Your clients might have them for you, waiting for you to call and find out who they are. And that attorney might have a video on estate planning that you can send their video instead, or send both. And so what you really want to do, the goal of all this is you really want to be contacting your current database with the idea of finding out, do they have estate plans in place? If not, the importance of it. And if they do, who is that attorney so you can meet them? Not to ask for referrals, but to send them business. Fastest way to get business is to offer other people business and to do it. I mean, you could, that's why I videoed them. I said, like to video you and send it out to my database. So if people need a estate plan, they'll give you a call. It's about doing videos. So that's kind of what I, so that's how to use your current database to build your business.
Okay.
Now it's an hour-long talk I do. And I just, we don't have time to go through it all today, but it's on my YouTube channel. I talk in detail how to build your business from the current COI. I think where Chad's training comes into place is now you have a mindset of helping those people, because too many realtors think, oh, if they're not ready to list today, I'm just going to move on. No, the opposite. You want people to ask you questions. My probate business, when I took the training, I'll show you guys a quick story. I took the training and my mindset was I'm looking for people to help. That wasn't my mindset my whole career. My mindset was I'm looking for people with problems that I can solve as a trained probate agent. So I called an attorney friend of mine who is not a probate attorney. He does civil litigation. He said to me, I actually have a client who has a question regarding her title of her property. Can you help her? Well, what's the right answer? Yeah, of course. I'm glad to call. So she's a widow and been married 55 years. And her husband had this 6-unit property that he managed. He passed. She was overwhelmed. She had some dispute with a neighbor about a fence and a wall and the line. And she's talking to me and I felt bad for her. So I said, and she said, well, can you come by? Can I show it to you? I said, yeah, sure. And I drove over. It was an hour away. I drove over. No expectation of selling a house. We walked the property for about 45 minutes. Sweet lady, as you can imagine, lost without her husband. She even had to bounce a checkbook. And she turns to me and says, can you sell this property for me? That was my whole listing presentation was yes. So I go through the process, selling that property and deliver her a nice check. I think the proceeds are $500,000. And she was like crying to me and she says, I've always wanted to move to Arizona to be with my sister. Can you help me sell this house, which was her residence? And I said, yeah. So by calling my client, who's an attorney by coincidence, telling him I'm involved with probate, he gives me this lead that had no interest in selling a house. Turned into not one, but 2 transactions. That's the power of working your current database of people who already know, like, and trust you. If you just buy data, now if you're a new agent, you've got to start with strangers. There's no way around that. But if you've been in business, like you have been over 10 years or more, you have to have a database of 200 or 300 people. If you don't start with the people you already know, it's going to be a lot harder. There's no shortcut that bypasses that. I don't care. I've had this argument, and I've a lot of agents. I had one who joined my team and quit because he wanted me to believe him when he said that none of his past clients would work with him in probate. I said, well, if you believe that, then you should be in this business talking about probate, because you think you're right, you'll be right. But I'm going to tell you my professional opinion. I've earned this based on my business. I've had this discussion with hundreds of real estate agents, score of which take me up on it. I get it's hard work. I get it's uncomfortable. That's the fastest path to business. Okay.
Okay. I like that. I used to sell a lot of REO. So, but I still have the information about those people. So I could even talk to them. I mean, they probably don't remember me because most of them, they're like investors or whatever. I don't know.
Some remember, some you don't. And by the way, if you put them in your database, you email out to them, they're more likely to remember you. And by the way, if you like them in social media, Facebook or Instagram, They're
Oh,
more
yeah.
likely to remember you. If you send them videos, they see your picture, they'll remember you. So the goal is to reacquaint them and to reinvigorate those relationships.
Wow. Okay.
And I
I'm
think in the
in.
middle of COVID, somebody
Hmm?
who I had not seen for 7 years, but I've been emailing him every week. He'd been in the military. He had a property to sell nearby me for like $850,000. Called me up and we listed the house and sold it. So definitely works. Okay. Thanks, Deborah. All right. Hand up patiently was owner. That's quite a name there, owner. How can we help you? There you go.
That's funny. My name is Felicia. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Great, Felicia. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. One question, and then I wanted to share something that I'm doing this week. My one question is, with your brochure, can we just duplicate what you already created? Just add our stuff and tweak it a little bit?
Well, that brochure is just a template from all the leads where you download it and put in your own stuff, and then they print it too. So you might go that route. As far as taking mine and doing it somewhere else, I don't know if it's copyright or not. I don't care. I'd say good luck with it. If it works for you, it's fine for me. But I would say it's you got to pay somebody to print it, and their printing costs were really competitive. So I just took theirs, and you put in your picture and your name and your phone number, and they download it, and you approve it, and then you order the print, and they just mail me the print. But you can do.
I would have to set up an account with all the leads, though, right?
I don't know
to
how
do
that
it?
works, but you,
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned, you can do whatever you want with it. That's between you
Okay.
and them, but they wrote it and it's their material. So
Okay.
they don't care. I don't care. It's fine with me, but I wish you luck. Felicia, where do you sell real estate?
New Jersey,
What part?
Central and Northern New Jersey.
Got it.
I'm located in Clark, and I cover anything at far north to Hudson County and as far south to Tom's River.
Got it.
And what I wanted to share, what I'm doing is I'm hosting a how to sell your probate inherited property on Thursday.
Nice.
And what I'm doing is I have my attorney and my estate planner, he's a tax expert, and my mortgage lender. Actually, my mortgage lender is going to host the Zoom meeting, and she made a flyer up. And we put it out on social media, all
Love
the
it.
contacts that I have, all the contacts
it.
that the attorney has, all the contacts that the tax guru has. And we got an overwhelming response of people who are going to attend. She made like a little link so everybody can click on and join at 6 o'clock on Thursday. And what we did was we all had pre-written questions that we know we can answer. So I had questions about probate that I know I was comfortable with asking. So
Nice.
I'm giving it to her as the moderator to ask me. The attorney has his, and then the tax person have his. So this way we'll have a nice answered, and I'm not like out doing it alone. I work with my partners. So this way they can answer some of the things that I might be uncomfortable with. Like, is there a tax benefit for, inheriting a property? I'm a real estate broker. I don't ask your tax accountant. So it was great that the tax accountant is going to be online. A part of this session that we're going to have. So that's what I wanted to share.
Love it. Do you mind sharing the link so anybody else here can join in and watch it and see the details?
Sure.
And the reason why you should do it also is just FYI that,
Mhm.
oftentimes, of course you have to be concerned. There are stupid real estate agents, I'm just going to warn you right now, who go onto your event and try to steal your leads. I don't understand what their thought process is. I feel like I come from a pretty giving place. I invite agents from the country to come on my probate weekly call. And, obviously I'm not charging them for it, but I'm trying to generate business. There's always a local LA realtor who is in the chat box soliciting referrals. And if somebody, asks a question to me on the call, there I see the chat box, they're chatting them away, but I think customers see through that. And I think if you're hosting it, they're going to see you hosting an event and some other idiot trying to steal your lead in the chat box. People know what's going on there. But I'll tell you, one way to boost your attendance is to invite other realtors that will never do business with you. Because I don't know how many people do you expect to have on the call? If you're to guess.
So far, we have 64 that RSVP.
Great. In general, I would expect about a third of the people that RSVP will show up, just as a general number. But all those people will be invitations for your next event.
Absolutely.
So if you had 20, let's say worst case, And I don't want to disappoint you or prepare you for something bad.
Right.
Let's say it was only 20. But if you also had
Right.
20 realtors on, now you have 40. It
Right.
just is more energy and more to the event. So I would encourage you to get other people on. If you share that, I'd love to check it out myself. I mean, it's
Okay.
great. I've thought about doing something directed to petitioners or families. I've not done it, and I love that you're leveraging your partners. I think that's just a whole other level, Felicia, of business. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
pull up the invite and put it in the chat. Let me try to do that. I'm not very technical, so let me work on it.
Well, if I was just a customer, how would I?
Well, it's on my Facebook page. It's on my Facebook. It's on all my social media posts. But I can
Okay.
find it. I'm going to do it because I have to know how to do this by Thursday because I have
I
to
think
share
so.
all
You
my
invite
contact
people.
links. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, send me a link. I'd love to be on and check it out. I host something
sure.
an hour later, so I may or may not be available to see it live.
Sure.
And then also, so a couple other hot tips I'll give you is, for sure you want to record the video.
Record it. Okay. Mhm.
No matter, even if half of it's terrible, the other half is not, but record
Okay.
the video. And
Okay.
then also I would say you could send the full video to a virtual assistant and have them cut pieces. Now you have social media posts for the rest of your life off that one video.
Or YouTube, right? Okay. Or YouTube,
Well, you can
right?
post them on YouTube and Facebook and whatever else you use, Reels,
Okay.
Instagram, all that stuff.
Okay.
But you have the hard part's the content. You're going to have some, I would imagine, some great. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Lisa, thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. You got it.
Okay, so question, Ursula says, like the idea they call past clients if they have a trust, who's their attorney, great lead in to remind past clients your business is built on referrals. 100% Ursula, and I would just say, even if they never, she was commenting on my comment about calling your past client database, even if they never know anybody in probate or estate planning or don't have one, don't want one, the fact you call them and ask them shows you care. And when you refer them and say, I'm looking to refer to my other clients, you're referring to them as a client. People appreciate that. What's your YouTube video to help with building your business? So I'm ashamed to admit, I don't even know which video it is myself. I'm going to search for it and hopefully I'll be able to speak. Hopefully I'll be able to find my own video to refer to you guys here before we're done. I'll do my best to post on that. We'll have to come back to that. ATL is very reasonable. I thought so. The printing was very reasonable. And the websites I thought were good too. Put the link to brochure one more time. Okay, so yeah, if you jump on the call late, you don't have the link. Let's put the link in. Okay, just putting the link again to the brochure. So hopefully that will help you. Great job, Felicia. Yes, hopefully that's really amazing. Felicia, of all the people I've talked to in this program, you're the first one. Well, that's not quite true, but you're one of the very, very few that really gets it. It's taking action. I'm really impressed. Even 34 is fantastic. Good idea, Felicia. We'll check it out. Yes, 20 is great. I don't really say that because I hope you blow it through and get 150. I want to set your expectations low so you're thrilled with whatever you do. Sherry asks, how can we find Felicia on Facebook? I think everybody wants to be Felicia's best friend now. I'm one of them, Felicia. And her name is Felicia Hankerson, and you can friend her on Instagram. Of course, the gram. She's way too young to be a Facebook person. Sorry about that if I mistracked you. And she'll put the flyer in the chat box. Great. Innovative approach. Yeah, I would say very innovative approach. And imagine if you just did that. I'll just tell you, as a person who hosts a podcast, I'm guest hosting here for Chad. I have my own Probate Weekly that I do. It's a lot of work, but that's where I drive all my traffic to. And so, but imagine doing that instead of cold calling, right? It could be a lot more fun. And I think more productive because think of what she said. She had 67 people respond. At a minimum, she now has 67 people. And let's assume not all of them are good. Let's say some of her friends or some of her, whatever, they're realtors or they're whatever the number is, 60, 50, 40. Just by putting it out there, she's already got those leads, right? I mean, you have to pay all the leads. You have to pay Probate Data or some company to get leads. She's already got leads interested. That's worth something. These are leads who want to talk to her, not just cold leads waiting for phone calls. They like Felicia enough or the concept of a Felicia to sign up and participate. So I always find that if you have I encourage all my team members, what we do is we actually build a platform for them that includes a weekly Zoom call. I think it's really important for a realtor to be a thought leader. There's different ways to skin a cat, but I think one of the great ways to be a real estate agent and differentiate yourself is to have an area of expertise and to share that expertise with people over and over. And that's what I try to do. Okay, spell her last name. I have Hankerson, Hankerson. Is that right? Thanks for that. It's in the chat box. I have realtors living the business call me to turn their clients over to me because they found my workshops informative and to be an expert. Yes, Ursula. 100%. Retiring real estate agents. What a great way. They have a database of people they're never calling in help. Now, the problem is most agents don't have a database. When I asked Deborah, that was her reaction. Very normal. They make good money in real estate and never think about all the people they know that they're not reaching to. I am constantly embarrassed, almost daily, to find somebody who should be in my database that wasn't. I'll give you an example. I'm building a team, in addition to my own book of business, of real estate agents. I had a guy who interviewed me a year ago. He came to me, another company promised me, oh, this guy's a YouTube genius. He'll help blow up your YouTube channel. What I learned a year ago was, well, my YouTube channel was bigger than his. A year later, he actually joined my company, not with me, but under somebody else. So my point is, but I never kept in touch with him. I lost his information. So I'm pretty good, and I'm pretty good at getting everybody in my database, and that one slipped through the cracks. So Felicia's also, you're pretty old. Yeah. Well, I have a lot of realtors on Facebook, and the format just seems to work for what I'm trying to do. But Belinda says, how do you set up your meeting? Do you use Eventbrite.com or just send a Zoom link, which is set up? So Belinda asked a great question. Are you doing something, Belinda, with it, or are you just something you're kind of planning on? I don't see. I can't.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah. So I actually did an event, through another program. It didn't turn out that successful, but it did get me through the process of using Eventbrite and having the marketing and all that kind of stuff. And it had a process where you could actually join Zoom and put the Zoom link in with your marketing. Right. But, just from what Felicia was saying, it sounds like that you and her may have a simpler method. We just actually advertise it on Facebook and things like that, and then just send people the Zoom link rather than go through something like Eventbrite.
So I don't do that. There's two ways to work events, I find. One is you can register people and then give them the Zoom link. Another is you can use Zoom to register people.
Oh, really?
And back in my mind, I've always been planning on dumping Zoom at some point. A number of reasons why I don't want to get in the detail of it. So I didn't want to be tied into them. So I use Eventbrite as my registration database. And I share that link with everything. And that brings in their name, address, and then you can specify additional fields, phone number, company, and such. So I use that, and then they get the Zoom link through Eventbrite. I do that to help manage the registration process, so I can get their information, because that's the lead generation that you're doing right there. Somebody calls me and just wants the link, I'll send them the Zoom link I already have in my database. But if they're not, I want them to come through Eventbrite, because that will help force them to register. And it weeds out some of the knuckleheads that will come into the process.
Okay.
Good question, though. But you really want to have one central registration database, and then use that link for your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever else you're doing to promote your event, try to drive people through that process. Now, if they're already in your database, those people you can send a separate email to just with the Zoom link. There's no reason to have them sign up to Eventbrite. You already have their name, address, phone number. If that's all you're collecting, then you just want to send them the Zoom link directly. But be careful, because people share the Zoom link. That's how you get Zoom bombed. There are people who look online. You'll have a friend who thinks it's great and they want to help you, and they'll put in Twitter the Zoom link. They don't realize is, well, everybody else has to register. They got it because they're your friend. And so the people going to Twitter, search for Zoom links, and will just come in and drop the nastiest, most pornographic, disgusting, vile audio you can imagine. So be careful if on the Zoom, how you want to handle the Zoom bombing. Be careful with your security settings and such. And we can give a whole seminar on that.
Because even with the people that I know, there's a way to, cut and paste the Eventbrite link in and make them come through. If that's the case, if I didn't know that would happen, if people could get the link, and it just didn't even cross my mind someone would even do that.
And I'm telling you, you can't believe the vile garbage they'll run on your video. It's just shocking. The first time it happened to me, I mean, I'm a guy, not much shocks me in life. I have to admit, I was just, wow. I was just the most vile. It's like they cut to the most disgusting part of the pornography. It wasn't just pornography. I guess, some pornography has like the lead up and the dialogue. No, they cut right to the
chase.
It was just, and I remember the first time I was like, I don't believe this happened. I called and I said, Bill, there's 40 people on the call. You got to jump into it. So,
yeah.
Okay. And then Ursula says a good point, and I hope that's not true for people on this call, but what she points out, which is true, no question, she's right, is that most people don't set up their business as a business. Most real estate agents or investors don't set up a business as a business. They set up as transactions. They'll call people. If they're not going to list, they'll throw the numbers away. And you have to look at everybody as, yes, Felicia, I got the link and it works perfectly. Thank you so much. What a great graphic you did. Inherited property somewhere. Really very, very impressive. Yeah. So anyhow, yeah, this is the business. And I think that's, when you're buying data, that you have to get a return for your money. And one way is by keeping people and keep inviting them. And I would say to Felicia, make sure all the people who don't show up, invite for the next one. All those who do show up, you thank them and invite them to the next one. Okay, hey, we've gone over a little bit here, so sorry about that. I just kind of lost track of time. I love talking about event marketing. It's been a big main part of my business. I'm Bill Gross. I run this call for now regularly. I'm a Probate Mastery alum, as well as coach, as well as practitioner. I do this every day as a real estate agent full-time. Glad to help if I can. Join my call. I do Thursday, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up at probateweekly.com. You can see all the things I do. If you want to learn about how to do an event online, sign up and join mine, and you'll see everything that I do. There's nothing really secret about it. This call, Probate Mastery, is part of Chad Corbett's Probate Mastery program. It's designed for alumni of the program who've been through the coaching and are implementing it, taking steps to build a business. And so it's natural along the way to have questions, some trip ups along the way, looking for different tools. And we're here to help. We're here to help, and I'm here to help you with that. So thanks so much. Again, next week I'll be remote from Florida, but until then, make this a great week. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating.